How's it going? Hello, I'm Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Stranger Things 6. This is a comic by Dark Horse. This is actually their second Stranger Things spin-off comic, the first being about Will's perspective from the Upside Down. So 6 is a prequel comic, and it takes place in Hawkins Lab before the events of the show. So you get lots of cool things like seeing the Hawkins Lab in operation. You get to see the first person to use the sensory deprivation tank and get a sense of what the lab was like before everything happened in the show. Stranger Things 6, it starts off with your main character, Francine, who would become number 6. And Francine, she has the ability to see the future, but it's not fully developed. She can kind of see little bits and pieces, and it's not 100% reliable. So her father tries to use that to his own personal benefit, to be able to predict the outcomes of like sports games and races and stuff. But he gets mad when it's really not reliable, and it creates this bad home environment for her. So eventually she gets picked up by the Hawkins Lab. But that's not super great, because we all know Dr. Brenner and his nature for trying to push the subjects beyond their limits. But also when she gets there, she sees her friend Ricky, who is number 3, and Ricky has the ability to make people like him and persuade them, kind of like Prince Charming if you ever read the Fables comics, or kind of like a Jedi mind trick. So she didn't know he was part of the lab, and she begins to wonder, was my friendship with him, because they were good friends beforehand, was that whole friendship influenced by his powers and just a recruitment process? So her only friend from before is here, but now she can't trust him, and that's a severe blow to her. And that's really the big driving emotional part of the story, is can she trust Ricky again? You also meet 2 other new numbers, 9 and her twin sister 9.5, who have the ability to start fires, kind of like Firestarter. A good little homage to one of the King novels that inspired the series. And you get to see the kids living in the lab when it was still really active and not just 11. Because by the time the show starts, you just see 11, and you're like, okay, there's got to be 10 others, and when you get to season 2, you got to see one of the other ones. And for all the nerds who wanted to know more about the numbers, this gives you 3 new number spots, although you find out that 9 and 9.5 had to kind of share a number. So 4 kids, 3 new number spots. And for the nerds that want to know all the lore, this is a good part. I'm sure Dark Horse will do another Stranger Things miniseries. I'm looking forward to that. Really good. 2 flaws though. One, it's only a 4-issue miniseries, so in turn it's kind of short. You know, a lot of graphic novels you read are going to be 6. So a little on the shorter side, but I get, it's a miniseries. Second of all, there's actually an Air, I think issue 2. You get to see 11 for just a little bit, and there's an Air in the art where they actually draw 11 with long blonde hair, because apparently the artist was one of the few people that actually hadn't seen Stranger Things. 11 has the long blonde hair as a wig, as a disguise in season 1. But her actual hair is brown and would have been shaved at the time of this comic. So the artist probably just Googled a picture, 11 Stranger Things, and then just drew that. I'm curious if that'll be fixed by the time this gets to trades. But anyway, a few minor issues. Overall, really good. A really good little read for those of you curious about the other children and the lab and its working days. Overall, really good. I'd recommend it. Up next, we're going to actually be talking about Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. This is Peter Jackson's first movie, so for those of you who follow the channel, next time, Bad Taste by Peter Jackson. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.